Hi friends, this is Bakapa. Welcome back to Tester Stock channel. In this tutorial, I will discuss how to create the any API request body dynamically. So let me give an overview on what are the steps we are going to do it in couple of minutes. The very first step is we are going to create the our text file where we are specifying the API request body, and after that we'll make couple of changes in the API request body, that is in the text file. And in the second step, we are going to create the API test, and in the third step we are going to implement the one simple util method that will help us in creating the any API request body dynamically, and after that we will execute the API test. So let's start creating the test data file that contains the API request body. So I will go inside the src test resources folder. So we are passing the post API request body dynamically, so that's the reason here I'm copying the post API request body text file. So this contains the post API call request body. So simply I will copy this file and I'll paste it inside the src test resources folder, and I will rename this file with post API request body dynamic. So that's it. So in this file we'll make couple of changes. So here I want to pass couple of values at the runtime. That means dynamically we will prepare this API request body. So I want to pass first name, last name, and additional needs at runtime. So here what I will do is simply I will replace this actual value with the hash 0 and followed by hash. So this is the first value I want to pass it. So by using the util method, we will replace this particular value, and let's add the last name as the hash 1 and followed by hash. And similarly, I will do it for the additional needs actual value. So here I'll add hash and 2 followed by hash. So wherever we are seeing hash followed by the numbers, so those are the values we want to pass it at runtime, and we will create the API request finally. So this is how it looks like, our API request body, that is a dynamic API request body. So this is what the changes you need to do it in this text file. So this is all about creating the API request body in the text file. Now I will go inside the com.testautomation.api testing.utils. Under this, I will go to the file name constants.java. So here we are specifying the file location. So simply I will copy the line number 7 and I will specify the location of the file. So how we have specified the post API request body text file path. So similarly, we will add the another file location, that is post API request body dynamic. Text, and here I will here I'll update the variable name as post API request body dynamic. So that's it. So we will use this particular variable. By using this one, we can get the file location. So now we are done with creating the API request body, and also we have specified the file location. Now let's create the API test. So here I'm going inside the com.testautomation.api testing.tests. So here I'll simply copy the end-to-end API test Java class and I will paste it inside the same package. And here I'll rename, sorry guys, I'll rename this class with the create API request dynamically. So that's it. I'll click OK. So here we got the Java class now. So if you look at in the line number 34, here we are reading the or file and we are getting the post API request body, right? So here we have to specify our file location. So simply I will specify the file location just now which we have created. So here I have added the file location that contains the our file just now which we have created. And after reading that particular file, so it will returns the content from this particular file. So it will returns the this particular content. And once we got the content, so this particular variable contains the API request body. So we have to manipulate that particular API request body now, right? Because it is not contains the because it is not containing the actual value in the particular keys. That's the first name, last name, and additional names. So that's the reason here I'm going to implement one simple util method that will manipulate our API request body at runtime. So here I will go inside the com.testautomation.apitesting.utils package under the REST API helper class. So here I'm creating a one simple method that will accept the original API request, and also it will accept the actual values, and finally it will returns the dynamic API request body. So here I'm writing the public static, and here I'm writing the return type as the string because we need to return the dynamic API request body. So after that I'm specifying the method name as prepare API request dynamically, and it will accept two parameters as I said just now. One is the original API request body, so that we have specified it in the file, that is in the text file. Here I'll say request, and after that here I'm using one of the important Java concept called var_args. So that is capable of accepting n number of values. So simply I'll specify the string space dot dot three dots followed by the parameter name. So here I'll say args, and at the end, so this method return type is string. So here we have to write the return statement, and we are going to return the same request variable. So after replacing or updating the our original API request body, we are going to assign back to our request variable, and finally we are going to return the same string variable. So now, so this particular method is accepting the original API request, and also it has the all the actual values. So it can be the first name actual value, last name, and additional needs. So in your case you can try to pass total price, deposit paid, and also booking dates. So once we are having the list of values, so this particular var_args concept will help us mainly. So var_args is nothing but the variable length of arguments. So this is capable of accepting the n number of values. So in our case we will be passing first name, last name, and the additional needs. So simply it will accept all the parameter values and it will convert into the arrays. So once we are having the data in the arrays, simply we can iterate through by using the for loop or the for each loop. So in our case, I'm iterating this particular args array by using the for loop. So here I'll say for loop, and here I'm using the args dot length. I'm starting from the 0 and it is running till the end of the array. And simply we are incrementing the I value. So this request variable contains the original API request, and by using that one, simply I'll say replace. So here we have to specify the two values. So wherever I'm finding hash followed by the some numeric number and followed by hash. So this particular value has to be replaced with the actual value. So whenever we are calling this particular method, we will be passing the all the respective values to this particular parameter. So this args contains the all the values. So here I want to replace hash, and I'll say another hash, and before that simply I'll specify the I. So if you look at here, so it is simply pointing to the one by one parameters in this particular API request body. First time, whenever I value is 0, so simply it will point to this particular parameter, that is a hash 0 hash. So whenever I value got incremented, so this will be hash 1 hash. That time it will point to the second parameter, right? So now simply we have to pass the args of I. So based on the I value, I want to get the value from the our array list. So here I'll say args of I. So that's it. Let's add the plus symbol in between. So wherever we are finding the hash and followed by the numeric number and hash. So based on the index, this I value only, simply get that particular value from this array list and simply you replace it. So after replacing it, I'm assigning back to the our request string variable. So that's it. And finally, we are returning this particular request string variable. So this is a simple logic what you need to implement. So inside this particular util method. So let's call this particular method and we'll pass the original API request and also we'll pass the respective actual values. So now I will go back to the our API test class. So here simply I will use the class name REST API helper dot prepare API request dynamically. So here we have to pass the original API request. So this particular variable contains the our original API request and I'll pass it over here. So here we have to pass the actual values. And if you look at our original API request file, so we need to pass total 3 parameter values. That is the first one is first name and second one is last name and third one is additional names. So let's pass these 3 values from the method. So here I'll say first name as rest assured by, and in the last name I will pass the tester stock, and in the third parameter I will pass the additional needs as the chicken. So that's it. So after passing first name, last name and additional needs, so it will returns you the this particular method will returns as the dynamic API request body. So I will assign back to the string. Here I'll say request body, here I'll say dynamic API request. So that's it. So this particular variable contains the actual API request body. So that is a runtime what we have created. And we have to pass this particular API request body to the our post API request, right? So here we are making the post API request. Simply I will pass post API request over here. So that's it. So after that, so here we are validating the first name. So let's pass the first name from here. So wherever we are passing the actual values. So this is the first name what we are passing. Otherwise it will fail in the validation part. So let's pass the first name and that's it. So let me summarize what we have done so far. So firstly, we have created the post API request body dynamic text file which contains the API request body. So here we have specified what are the runtime values. We need to pass it from the, it can be external sources, it can be Excel file, you can read it and you can pass it or in the test method, or you can, right now we are simply hard coding those values. So after creating the file, we have added the file location over here. And after that, we have created the create API request dynamically, this particular class. And here, simply we are reading the our API request from the original text file. That's our original API request. We are reading it. And once we have that original API request body in the string, simply we are passing that particular original API request to the one of the util method that will manipulate the string and it will return you the actual API request. And once we got the actual API request, we are passing this dynamic API request over here in the post API call. So that's it, guys. So now I will run this particular API test in debug mode so that we can verify what exactly this particular variable contains. That is a dynamic API request body. So simply I'll put the breakpoint over here, and I will right click on the test method, and here I'll say run as, here I'll say debug as TestNG Test. So we will verify it is preparing, our util method is preparing the API request body correct or not. So if you look at here, so already we have kept the breakpoint over here and it is stopped over here. And let's check this particular variable what it contains. So if you look at here, so first name is rest assured by and last name is tester stock, and also additional needs, it is updated with the chicken, right? So let's run this whole test. So let's open the console output. So over here you are able to see it is executing all the API calls, and finally you can see here total test run is 1 and that is getting passed. There are 0 failures. So this time it is passing first name as the rest assured by and last name as the tester stock. So if you look at here, so what is the request it has sent, and it got the response with the booking ID, and also it got the first name, last name, and also additional needs. So now let's try to pass the different values now. So here I'll pass postman by tester stock. So that's it. So let's pass the same first name over here, otherwise it will get fail. So here I'll say postman by, that's it. So if you want, you can update this last name and additional needs also. So as of now, I'll keep it as it is. So once again, I will run this API test. So this time API should make a call by specifying the first name as postman by and rest of the details are same. So let's open the output. So if you look at here, so it got the booking ID and the first name is postman by and last name is tester stock, and also you can see the additional needs. So this is how you can create the any API request body dynamically, and you can after that once you got the any API request body dynamically, and you can pass that particular API request body to the any of the API request. Hi friends, this is Bakapa. Welcome to API testing full course. You can access all the exercise which we have done in the whole API testing course. I have already provided this link in the video description. So anyone can access this link, and also you can get the whole collections and also the environment variable details. So you can take that URL which is there in the description of this below video and paste it in the web browser. And after that, so once it is opened, so you need to export this collections into the your local system. So
it will open like this after accessing the link. So this is a public access URL which I have shared it. You can click on this booking API. You can see all the APIs are there inside the two folders. So what you can do is you can click on this three dots and you can export it. So you can click on this export, and firstly you can export this booking API collection, and after that on the right side you can select the booking API environment, and after that click on this icon and click on the edit. Then you can click on three dots and you can click on this export. So this will export the environment variable details. So after exporting it, so you will get these two files. And once you have these two files, you can go to the Postman and you can click on this import and make sure that you are there in this file tab, and you can click on choose files and you can select the firstly collection, that's the Postman collection, and you can open it, and after that you can click on import. So firstly you can load the Postman collection, and after that you can load the environment details. So as I have already these APIs in my system, I don't want to import it, and this is how you can get the exercise which we have done in the API testing full course. You can find all the code which I have discussed in the rest assured API testing full course. You can search with the buckapayan GitHub in the google.com, and here you can go to the my GitHub repository, and over here in the repositories tab you will find the rest assured API testing framework. You can go inside this repository and you can click on this code and you can copy this URI, and by using this URI, and you can simply use the git in your local machine, and you can simply clone it by using the git clone and followed by that specify the URL. So you will get the whole code which I have discussed in the rest assured API testing full course.